Borno State government provides relief materials to victims of Maiduguri floods. Nigerian military upscales manhunt for bandit leader Bello Turji. And House of Representatives advocates laws to encourage local sourcing of medicines. Hello and welcome to the news desk at 3 on Nta News24. We're live in Abuja. I am Dennis Adegunloye. Borno State Governor Babagana Umar Zulum has supervised provision of relief to victims of the Maiduguri floods at designated camps within the Maiduguri metropolis and environs. Governor Zulum was at Bakassi temporary shelter where victims of the floods are currently taking refuge, during which he supervised the continued profiling of the victims. And thereafter, each male and female beneficiary received 10,000 naira to enable them to meet their needs. On arrival at the various camps, government officials provided basic needs such as water and food to the victims. The profiling of the victims will enable government to provide other interventions coming from both the state and federal governments. The Nigeria Correctional Service says it is working to address the devastating impact of the recent flooding on its facilities in Maiduguri, particularly the Medium Security Custodial Center. In a statement, Public Relations Officer of the Nigeria Correctional Service, Abubakar Umar, says following the overflow and collapse of the Alao Dam in Borno State, the service is taking all necessary measures to evacuate inmates to a safer facility, ensure smooth operations, and collaborate with relevant agencies to provide support to those affected. The statement adds that the service appreciates support from the Presidency and the Vice President's visits to Maiduguri to assess the situation, while assuring of its commitment to maintain order and ensuring public safety during this challenging time. Meanwhile, managers of Nigeria's water sector are insisting that the country must draw up a concrete developmental plan for water and also build more dams to harness water from rains in the country. They were guests on Good Morning Nigeria, while they proffered solutions to addressing flooding in the country. Alika Okpanachi Arawa reports.
The story of flooding in Maiduguri was a serious talking point for the guests. The new Director General of the Nigerian Hydrological Service Agency, NISA, described the current perennial flooding in the country as a situation beyond the outlook earlier predicted by NISA. They therefore seek more collaboration among relevant stakeholders on the need to do more research and intelligence gathering in harvesting flood water.
If you notice, after every rainy season, it will not last a few months, like 3-4 months, you see all the rivers dried up. That's because we do not have enough water and we do not harness what we have when we are supposed to.
They also advised that farmers should be given the necessary training on how to adequately utilize rainwater for irrigation, a project NISA is currently engaged in.
My own institute, we do a lot of researches in youth development, agriculture, water requirement per crops, and even livestock. We write reports on how to ranch and how much water is required for ranch and the kind of animals you have in your ranch because of water availability from place to place.
Climate change, vandalism, and indiscriminate refuse disposal in drainages were also identified as some of the reasons for urban flooding. The role of the private sector and the need for policies that encourage these investments in water were also raised by the panel of guests.
It is all about your operation architecture, okay, and infrastructure that can be driven by science and technology, and it's not rocket science.
They spoke on the need for more sensitization in flood-prone areas to reduce the impact of excess water on these communities. In Abuja, Alika Okwanachi, Arua, Nta News.
Turning to security matters now, the military is to train communities to act as first responders to security challenges, while the manhunt for a bandit leader, Bello Turji, has been upscaled. The Chief of Defence Staff, General Christopher Musa, announced this at a news conference on ongoing operations to combat security threats across the country. Defence correspondent Ismail Musa reports.
One unified operation is going to be called Operation Fansan Yamma. It's securing the West. Now, the intention is to ensure that we synergize all our efforts in addressing the security challenges in the Northwest.
It's a crucial briefing on efforts to address the wave of insecurity across the country.
Banditry.
Top is the unification of ongoing operations, whole of society approach to stem banditry, terrorism, and pipeline vandalism. Worried by the increase in banditry in the Northwest, the Chief of Defence Staff and Minister of Defence for State were in Sokoto to review ongoing operations.
For us to maintain security, the armed forces and security agencies cannot be everywhere. We will try as much as possible to be there, but we're going to build the capacity of the locals to be able to defend themselves for a while before the military will come in. That we have adopted in the Northeast with the civilian JTF, with the hybrid forces, and it has worked. And the issue of Truji is just a deranged individual that feels power, but I can bet you that it's just a matter of time.
Similarly, sequel to a presidential directive and a marching order by the Chief of Defence Staff to curb oil theft and pipeline vandalism, all military operations in the Niger Delta have been harmonized under Operation Delta Safe and upscaled, leading to 100% terminal factor.
Along the key oil pipelines, I think that is massive. If we can remain at that level, then the directive of Mr. President to work towards having a 2 million barrels per day is achievable within the next few months.
This is the third major briefing on the state of insecurity by the Chief of Defence Staff in the last 2 months. In Abuja, Ismail Musa, NTA News.
The presidency has reacted to a comment made by the leader of the Trade Union Congress in the United Kingdom at the opening of its conference in London, with claims on human rights abuses and violations in Nigeria. A statement signed by the Special Advisor to the President on Communication and Strategy, Bayo Onanuga, says the Nigerian government was wrongly and falsely accused of rights abuses because the NLC President, Joe Ajero, was stopped from traveling abroad after he snubbed the invitation of a law enforcement agency conducting an ongoing investigation. Onanuga says Ajero, who probably considers himself above the law, was slated to speak at the same conference where the UK TUC leader attacked Nigeria. Onanuga also says his actions, however, have serious consequences, as no one is above the law in Nigeria. He also adds that clearly, under the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999 as amended, no person is above the summons of law enforcement agencies and lawful investigation. The federal government has called for collective efforts from states and critical stakeholders in the water and sanitation sector to accelerate disbursements of the World Bank Support Fund for improved wash services in the country. Minister of Water Resources and Sanitation, Professor Joseph Utsev, made the call at the opening of the midterm review workshop for the Sustainable Urban and Rural Water Supply, Sanitation and Hygiene SureWash program held in Abuja. Usman Zubeiru reports.
6-year SureWash program operating in 7 states aims to provide basic drinking water to 6 million people and improve sanitation services for 1.4 million individuals. The program launched in February 2022 was designed by the federal government with support of the World Bank's $700 million to address the challenges of water and sanitation in both urban, small towns and rural areas. This midterm review mission workshop is to discuss the program's current financial disbursements, which stand at $80.3 million as at December 2023, out of the earmarked $700 million. Forum also identify areas where significant progress has been made and critically evaluate the challenges that lie ahead.
Ensure that the Nigerian SureWash program continues to make positive and lasting difference in the lives of millions of Nigeria.
Our goal is to empower communities, enhance resilience, and also ensure that no one is left behind in the pursuit of sustainable development.
Minister of Water Resources and Sanitation, Professor Jeswa Talimun, urged participating states to proactively support the program financially, stressing that adequate funding is crucial for realizing activities outlined in the program work plan. In order to ensure high-level commitment and buy-in of the program by stakeholders, the minister said a high-level roundtable meeting will be convened with governors of 7 participating states to ensure success and effectiveness of the program.
Is to ensure that by the end of this program, millions of Nigerians will have better access to water and sanitation facilities, leading to improved health.
The Midterm Review Mission Workshop, which will last for 2 days, stakeholders are expected to develop another 6-month work plan for participating states. Osmonsberg, Nta News.
The National Orientation Agency is established by law with a clear-cut mandate to communicate government policies, programs and other activities to the people, as well as ensure that citizens imbibe national core values. A 3-day extended management retreat on the vision, role and expectations of the agency is being organized to ensure the agency does not lose sight of what is expected of it in realizing good governance in line with the renewed Hope agenda.
Orientation people, you are all leaders, because those you are speaking to, they are watching you, watching your lifestyle, watching your character, watching what you say, how you say, where you say, what you do, what you are engaged in. Therefore, you are role models.
You should ensure that Nigerians are well informed and educated, because in spite of development and growth, we still have a very large proportion of Nigerians that you can call illiterate. The percentage is still higher on that side. There are many people who don't understand the Queen's English that we speak. They only understand the local language.
The agency pointed out ongoing restructuring to concretize the laid foundation on the National Value Charter that defines the true Nigerian, which also provides platforms to allow citizens to hold government accountable.
Mohamed Idris launched the NOA mobile app called the Mobilizer. The Mobilizer has many crucial features for engaging with Nigerians, particularly the Nigerian youths. The Mobilizer app, available for download on both the Play Store and Apple Store, and has also strengthened our ability to deliver on our mandate to generate citizens' feedback for the government. The new NOA television and radio studios are also ready.
With the development of a new National Value Charter aimed at promoting good governance, the National Orientation Agency is being challenged to provide the lead for Nigerians to follow in realizing the nation-building project. In other news, 400 Nigerians, including 90 females and 310 males, have been deported from the United Arab Emirates back to Nigeria. They were received at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja, by the Office of the National Security Advisor in collaboration with the National Commission for Refugees, Migrants and Internally Displaced Persons, the National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons, the National Emergency Management Agency and other stakeholders. You're watching the news desk at 3 on Nta News 24. We'll take a short break. More reports in a moment.
From the creeks of the Niger Delta to the breathtaking scenery of the plateau, in noonday and nighttime, we set out to bring to you captivating stories that evoke your emotions. For fascinating documentaries and reports on day-to-day issues with expert analysis, tune in to NTA News 24, DSTV Channel 419, GoTV Channel 26, StarTimes Channel 101 and 433, and Free TV Channel 703.
Welcome back. The House of Representatives says it will promote the enactment of laws that will encourage local sourcing of medicines to enhance public health. This was during an oversight visit by members of the House Committee on HIV/AIDS, tuberculosis, leprosy and malaria to a healthcare organization in Lagos. Members of the committee who were taken through the processes for manufacturing medicines expressed the desire of Parliament to provide legislation that will support research and access to quality treatments for diseases that are still public health burdens in Nigeria. Deputy Chairman of the committee, Abubakar Zango, says understanding the challenges of the sector is key to advocating for increased funding and legislation that supports research and comprehensive healthcare for Nigerians. The committee says it will engender collaborations with relevant agencies and organizations to eliminate public health threats. Chief Executive of the National Oil Spillage Detection and Response Agency, Chukwuemeka Awoke, has reaffirmed the agency's dedication to implementing federal government's directives regarding the personnel management system framework for civil servants. This was at the opening ceremony of a two-day workshop focused on the implementation of performance management system framework for agencies of Federal Ministry of Environment at the NOSDRA headquarters in Abuja. Woke outlined NOSDRA's pivotal role as a leading agency under the Federal Ministry of Environment, particularly in addressing oil spills and pollution across the nation.
NOSDRA is to, among other things, ensure safety, timely, effective and appropriate response to major or disastrous oil pollution, identify high-risk areas as well as priority areas of protection and cleanup.
He said NOSDRA's goal is to ensure safe, timely and effective as well as appropriate responses to significant oil spill incidents.
With a clear statutory mandate for the protection of our environment, all our
Hydrocarbon Pollution Remediation Project, HYPREP, the agency saddled with the responsibility of revitalizing communities impacted by hydrocarbon pollution, with primary focus on the Ogoni region of Nigeria, has paid homage to its regulatory agency, the National Oil Spill Detection and Response Agency, NOSDRA, to familiarize itself with the new Director General and Chief Executive Officer, Chief Chukwuemeka Awoke, at the agency's head office in Abuja. Mina Daniels reports that the meeting also afforded the two agencies the opportunity of rubbing minds on meeting set targets and achieving greater results.
In line with the Mr. President Renew Hope agenda, we have decided to meet and see how we can collaborate and ensure very smooth, free operations of HYPREP. You know that the programs have a timeline, and we want to ensure that our supervisory role does not in any way hinder the operations of the project. And so that is why we're here. We have discussed extensively on the mode of operations and how to improve on how we have been relating before.
HYPREP is responsible for the cleanup of Ogoni land and the restoration of livelihoods of the people of Ogoni. The Renewed Hope agenda prioritizes accelerating the Ogoni cleanup. And so we cannot do that without the active support of NOSDRA. So we have come to familiarize with the new DG of NOSDRA and to encourage them to support us to accelerate the Ogoni cleanup.
As part of federal government's determination to fight and reduce corruption, the Code of Conduct Bureau has inaugurated the Proceeds of Crime Recovery and Management Department. Thomas Ogbetere reports that the department is responsible for tracing, recovering and management of looted assets across the country.
Nigeria for years has been grappling with the challenges of corruption, with the current administration making deliberate moves towards fighting the menace. Part of the effort is in the areas of strengthening some anti-graft agencies of the federal government with capacity to meet their statutory responsibilities.
All of us, all the three anti-corruption agencies, the major ones, the CCB, the ICPC, the EFCC, let us come together work. We are not fighting. We need collaboration.
Here, the acting chairman of the Bureau and the chairman of the Senate Committee on Ethics, Privileges and Public Relations, Senator Bernard Imaswe, are optimistic that the inauguration of the Proceeds of Crime Recovery and Management Department in collaboration with EFCC, ICPC, and other sister agencies saddled with the responsibility of fighting corruption will advance the fight against corruption.
The inauguration of this department aligned with the Proceeds of Crime Act 2022, laws of the Federation of Nigeria, and the constitutional provision that empower the Bureau to undertake additional functions as conferred by National Assembly from time to time.
The department's mandate also includes the oversight of the proper utilization of recovered assets to ensure they contribute to national development and public welfare.
The authorities believe the new department will also extend the mandate of the Bureau to maintain high standards in conducting government business and enforce the code of conduct for public officers as contained in the 1999 Constitution. In Abuja, Thomas Ogbeteri, NTA News.
Inculcating a productivity mindset among Nigerian youths remains a strategic tool towards exposing young Nigerians to more job opportunities. Saddled with this responsibility, the National Productivity Center has continued to train core members at NYSC orientation camps to enhance their productivity skills. Joseph Otsen reports on the latest exercise at the Kubwa orientation camp in Abuja.
On display are products made by some NYSC members for sale. Many have benefited from the NYSC entrepreneurship training to be self-reliant, but the federal government is taking a step further by providing productivity skills to enable them sustain and grow in whatever venture they choose to build on after leaving the camp.
So your outputs are very important. So your outcomes and your impact in life is product of your output. So, and that output is dependent on how well you utilize the resources available to you.
Participants receive lessons on vital productivity tools and techniques, such as identifying and utilizing available resources, value addition, competitiveness, and measuring success.
Timeliness, efficient utilization of resources, respect, integrity, all of these are very important to perform in the workplace and to add value. Apart from the attitudinal gap, we also encourage them to close the knowledge gap. Perhaps some may go to schools to teach, some may go to other offices to work. They should be well equipped with the knowledge necessary to perform optimally. Then the third gap, we also encourage them to close when they go for their primary place of assignment is the skills gap.
The federal government says it has plans to create 1.5 million jobs through the Labor Employment Enhancement Program, targeting mostly youth. In Abuja, Joseph Otsen, NTA News.
This is the news desk at 3 on NTA News 24. Here's a recap of our top stories. Borno State government provides relief materials to victims of Maiduguri floods. Nigerian military is upscaling manhunts for bandit leader Bello Turji. And the House of Representatives is advocating laws to encourage local sourcing of medicines.
This is NTA News
That concludes the news desk at 3 on NTA News 24. Thanks for watching. I am Dennis Adigunloye.